Jean. Hello, Sensei Joanne.
Hello, Mike.
Good. Hello. Look at who else do we have? Sensei Kevin. Sensei Neil. Hello.
That's Sensei Kevin's snowboarding in the background too. Going up the, is that Rummel?
No, that was West Nile Basin. And yeah, I was going to say summer is nice and all, but the best outdoor sports are in the winter, man. Hands down.
I am going to vehemently disagree.
I don't know. The pool was very nice today.
I can imagine. Yes. I am so glad that summer is here. Even if it is a little bit sweaty today, it's Taylor doesn't have air conditioning or any kind of breeze coming through here. So it was just about to rain and you could just feel that humidity sticking. All right. Sensei Neil, are you showing us yourself on camera? Oh, there's Sensei Kyle. Hello, Sensei Kyle. All right.
Hello, Sensei Blaine, Sensei Kevin.
Who else have we seen?
Sensei Doug, Sensei Kyle, Allison.
Sensei Shelley McGregor.
Yeah, so Sensei Shelley, she waved, yeah, and she's wearing her nice bright red, so easy to pick out.
As she
No,
made
Sensei Heather, there's a good idea for swag. We need a branded cowboy hat.
I think that's a great idea, Sensei Dean.
Nice.
Okay, well, I'll have to send my back out, Heather, to get it branded.
We'll just have to get yours logoed, Sensei Jim.
Now, who is E? Somebody has E there. Who's E?
Anonymous E.
Anonymous
I could tell you, but I'll let
That'll
him
be-
respond.
Oh, E left us. Oh, no, there, he just moved. There we go.
E is Elliot.
E for Elliot. Hello, Elliot.
Yo,
Let's see, we have Danny and Kylie. Who else do we have in here? We're going to give it just a couple more minutes before we get started. Just to get everybody in, everybody saying hi.
So Sensei Shelley, we used some of your training tips from last night's clinic in our classes this morning with the kids. They were amazing. Really well done. Thank you for those.
Nice. Sensei Alice, hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. Are you going to turn your camera on so we can see you?
Do I have to? Just a sec.
Yeah, just for a minute. We can see your lovely face.
Depends where you are, Elise.
Well, yeah, okay. As long as it's safe to do so. Let's put it that way.
Just a sec. I gotta find. You have a hard time seeing me. We're out of electricity, so I'm having to use my my cellular.
Oh, no.
Dear.
Yeah.
Is there a storm that's gone through, Sensei Alice?
Yes. It's pouring down here, and we lost. It's been. I think it's out for 10-15 minutes. So I'm like, hopefully, I can watch most of the award show.
Oh, good.
Is it the whole town that's out?
I think so.
Ah,
Yeah. So how you guys doing?
we are good.
Right.
I say we as in
Good.
the proverbial we. I am doing good. There we go.
Good.
And is Sensei Yvonne with you?
He's actually downstairs, so I think he's checking to see if he's going into work or not.
Oh, yes.
Because
I see Sensei Blaine. There we go. Hello.
there.
Okay. Good. did I miss saying hi? Anybody else? If you haven't said hello, if you haven't kind of joined or whatever, please feel free to take yourself off mute. Say hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Stephanie.
Stephanie, how's everything going with your is it your dissertation or your doctorate?
Yes, thanks for asking. Actually, I just finished putting a report today together regarding that accessibility survey. And it's just very brief. It just basically, this is what the data said, nothing, no extra frills to it. So I'm going to send that out to Sensei Dennis, and then he can distribute it how he sees fit. And then I'm going to be making the phone calls to those few. I think there's a few people that volunteered to be part of the next phase interview, which I'm really looking forward to. That's good. Get lots of input, lots of information.
What's your timeline, Sensei Stephanie, for completing all of this?
Timeline is 2022, so it's perfect. I have plenty of time, right in a good spot. I could get it done really if I hammer down within a few months, but you know how everything else gets in the way.
Life, and it's good to have all of those other areas too. So awesome. Well, I wish you the best of luck putting all of this together.
Thanks.
Let's see. Somebody's called Mom's iPhone. I love that. Who's Mom's iPhone?
Hi, that's Heather McDonald.
Hello there. I love that it says Mom's iPhone.
Yeah. See if I can fix that.
If you hover your mouse over on the three little dots on your picture, you can rename yourself there.
I can fix that for you, Sensei.
Let's have some fun with that, Heather.
Yeah, I'm sure she will.
Okay. So I think at this point, are we thinking about ready to kind of start? Is everybody? I think everybody, let's see. We're still actually missing. Who are we missing? Sensei Bob, right? I don't see Sensei Bob.
Sensei Bob Graham is not on yet.
Yeah, Bob is not here. Let's see.
What about Sensei Ron? Is he joining us?
I don't know.
I'll text him right now.
All right, we'll give another minute and then we'll wait to hear back from Sensei Darren if Sensei Ron is joining us.
Sensei Peter Avino is on. Hello, Sensei Peter Avino.
Hey, Sensei Peter.
Sensei Peter. All right.
And we got Mike on here.
Peter, text Sensei Bob, ask him where he's at.
Perhaps he may think it's at 7:30.
Like you did, yeah. He's pulling what you pulled.
I did. That's right.
I'm on, but I'm under more.
There we go. There we go.
I'm
not
under
good
more.
at this technology stuff.
Hey, there he is.
There we go.
I'll text him, see what's up.
He was on this afternoon.
You have to understand, he is his own time zone. And it's a variable time zone. So
it's a variable one. All right. Well, he made it today, so I'm sure he will be with us shortly. And I see Sensei Ron. Yes.
Yeah, he just joined.
Sensei Ron, you are under a different name.
I'm using my sister-in-law's computer because I'm at a house party. A barbecue
Good.
here by the lake.
There you go. Nice to see you, Sensei Ron.
Nice to see everybody.
Sounds like Ontario's not locked down anymore.
No.
Quiet.
That's all. That's awesome.
Today was the day that you could open up to 5, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So as long as you're outside and socially distanced and all that other kind of wonderful stuff.
Nice. There's Sensei Bob.
I'm here. I was having some connectivity issues, but
Oh, good.
I have solved them. I'm only seeing me though.
We can see you. Let's see. There should be a thing that says gallery view if you're able to find
Let me see.
that.
Oh, there we go. Yay.
Awesome.
Okay, I just got to prop up a little bit higher.
Good.
Get my hand out of the way. That's too high. All right.
Good. All right. Sensei Dennis, how are you doing?
I'm doing just fine, thank you.
Good. Are you all ready to go?
Absolutely. Let's the
All
ball
right.
rolling.
Get the ball rolling. All right. Let me just see. Perfect. All right. I think we're ready to go tonight. So welcome to all of you who are joining us tonight. It's so great to see such familiar faces. It's been a long time, I think, for some of us. In the chat, if everybody knows where your chat box is, let us know where you're coming from. You know, are you from somewhere in Canada? Are you joining us internationally? Let us know in the chat, say hi, and let us know where you're at. Tonight, we are here to celebrate the SWKKF and the legacy of Sensei Shintani. The Shintani Wadokai Federation aims to be the premier traditional karate and Shindo organization in North America. This can only be accomplished through the hard work of our highly skilled and dedicated instructors in developing unparalleled character, skill, and pride in our karate students. Our members are the backbone of the SWKKF. Without their spirit of generosity, care, and dedication, the SWKKF would not and will not survive. It is important to recognize our generous members who embody the SWKKF core values of honor, excellence, community, kindness, and humility. Before we begin, it is my honor to introduce our SWKKF president, Sensei Dennis LeBay. Sensei Dennis is a 9th Dan and started his karate journey as a student of Sensei Shintani in 1972 in Welland, Ontario. In June of 1997, Sensei Shintani formed the SWKKF Senate. Sensei Dennis held the position of Secretary General for 10 years. In May of 2000, Sensei Shintani passed away and Sensei Dennis became the successor as president of the SWKKF. Sensei Dennis continues to train, teach seminars, and attend tournaments and black belt gradings across Canada. Please join me in welcoming Sensei Dennis LeBay.
Thank you, Beverly. On behalf of the SWKKF Senate, I would like to welcome all of you to this 4th annual Reach Award and Tournament celebration. Welcome, everybody. In spite of an incredibly difficult year, we should be proud of all of our accomplishments. I am looking forward to returning to the dojo floor with you at our tournaments, our clinics, our gradings, so I can personally extend my thanks to those of you who have given so much to our Shintani Wadokai Federation.
Awesome. Thank you, Sensei Dennis. So I have a poll here, so let me find my polls. Let's do poll number 1. So I'm launching poll number 1. How many years have you been part of the SWKKF? So if you can find your polling in here, you can answer 1 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 15, 16 to 20, 21 to 30, or 31 or more years as a member of the SWKKF. So we'll give it a couple of moments here for everybody to chime in. Let me know how long you've been a member of our SWKKF Federation. All right, I'm seeing a lot under our 11 to 15 years. I'm going to give it another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's end that poll. So we have, let's see, 21% and 24%. So we have quite a few people who are over the 31 years. Awesome that we have such a great representation there. We have a few that are our newest members and that 1 to 5 years. So awesome. Thank you and welcome to all of you. All right. So previously, I mentioned the SWKK core values of honor, excellence, community, kindness, and humility. So let's start with our focus on excellence. This past year has seen the SWKKF be truly innovative in bringing members from across the country, the US, and even internationally. Instead of regional tournaments, there have been virtual tournaments with karateka from regions competing in kata and kumite. Who would have thought that the negative impact of the pandemic could bring us together to unify and to compete? I'm going to pass the celebration of these virtual tournaments over to Sensei Heather Fiddick. Sensei Heather is a 7th Dan from Alberta, Canada, and you can tell by her Calgary hat going on, and is one of our SWKKF Senate members and part of our REACH committee. Sensei Heather, over to you.
Wonderful, and welcome, and thank you so much, Sensei Beverly. I'm going to have Sensei Bernadine spark up a quick little video that we put together that gathers some of the highlights from our tournaments that we've had over the last year. So Sensei Bernadine.
Hey, back over to you, Sensei Heather.
Thank you. I'm just going to all righty. Can we see that that one slide that's up there, the Shintani? Beautiful colors. Awesome. I just wanted to make sure. So our virtual series champions, and this was a kind of a brainchild of Sensei Kyle Chambers, and we just finished putting it all together today. So thank you to Doug Taylor and his group. champions are not just the ones who win gold medals. And I really have to reach out and say thank you, thank you, thank you to Sensei Doug Taylor, Sensei Geraldine Young, Sensei Kyle Chambers, Sensei Kevin Cole, Sensei Tom Foster, Rob Montgomery, Darren Humphreys, and myself. This was those three that are bolded up there. They did the heavy lifting, and just so much to say thank you to these folks. And they are definitely the champions of this endeavor. Here are all of our officials that took place and participated over the tournament series. The next we're going to get right into our divisional champions, and their divisional champions were the ones that they received participation points. They received points for a gold or silver medal, however they placed in their division. So here they are in no specific order. Here are your divisional champions. And I'm just going to let everybody kind of read them. I'm not going to attempt to read all the names, and we will have this available for everybody to see. You will receive your certificates in your email boxes probably on Monday. And our last set coming up of division champions. So as you can see, we had them all the way down to our little guys, all the way up to our adults. It was fantastic. So you will see your certificates in your email box later. Now the grand champion certificates, there is a grand champion certificate coming forward. And I'd like to say, do a great big shout out, which I didn't put on there, to Michaela Leibels, who put together these fantastic certificates. And I was going to put them in the PowerPoint, and I thought, you know what? You just have to wait till Monday until you can see them. And she did an amazing job designing them and putting them together. And our grand champions for this year, they were decided by all of the points accumulated from all of the events that they participated in. And here they are. In our Q belts, Mila Bolger from Welland Martial Arts in first place, and in second place, Dahlia Bolger, Welland Martial Arts, and in third place, Ariel Morissette from Hearst, and of course she was in the Q belt division and ranked up to her showdown about a month ago. So congratulations to those Q belts, fantastic job. And in our black belt division from Calgary, Sensei Darren Humphreys, from Thunder Bay, Nico Gosselin, and in third place, back to Alberta, Bernadine Jugdut. So congratulations to everyone. Clapping, awesome. We need the NHL soundtracks.
We do.
Just so you know, Sensei Dennis LeBay will be sending out, we actually have medals for our 6 grand champions, and they'll be sent out. He'll be gathering your street address and sending them out to you. Of course, he might be able to just pop over and give them to his own students, Mila and Dahlia. So again, congratulations. And thank you and hope to see everybody in next year in person. Over to you, Sensei Beverly.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sensei Heather. And what a great video. Thank you for putting that together. It was awesome to see. And it just made me smile just looking at all of that. I love the fact too, I waited a little bit just to see everybody name come up in the chat box of where everybody's from. So certainly, we see Welland and Calgary. Joanne, thank you, from Arkansas. I love that. Let's see. There was a couple other, we have Whitecourt, we have Thunder Bay, St. Catharines. I love the fact that somebody said from their backyard. Many of you might be from your backyard on this lovely night. Let's see, where else? Lots from Calgary and stuff. Wonderful to see everybody. Thank you for putting that into the chat box. Next is the recognition of those who have been graded to the top ranks within the SWKKF. Sensei Dennis, over to you.
Thank you, Beverly. The grading for the black belts going to 6th, 7th, and 8th dans are determined and voted at the Senate meeting. The Senate meeting of June 2020 The Rokodan 6 Dans grading was Sensei Sanford DeWitt, Sensei Darren Marshall. The Senate meeting of December 2020, we had a Rokodan 6 Dan grading for Sensei Darren Fiddick and a Sichidan 7th Dan grading for Heather Fiddick. Also in December 2020, the following received their Kudan, their 9th degree, their 9th Dan is Sensei Brad Cosby, Sensei Rick LeMayer, Sensei Ron Matty, Sensei Daniel McCoy, Sensei Bruce Perkins, and Sensei Peter Rook. There will be Dan gradings at our next Senate meeting in June. But the Senate has already confirmed one candidate going to the rank of Hachidan. I present to you Sensei Jim Atkinson, graded to the Hachidan. Congratulations. You. I'm trying to show you the certificate, but my background is not working. There you go. Congratulations, Jimmy.
Thank you very much, Sensei Dennis, and the Senate. You guys have no idea how much respect I have for you guys, and how much I care for you, and I'm extremely proud and honored to be part of this group, the Senate, and I'm equally proud and honored to be recognized by you. Thank you very much.
Good job.
Wonderful. Congratulations to all, and be sure to stay afterwards, after the awards presentation, to congratulate all of these senseis on being awarded their new Dan. I am so pleased to see so many of our senior black belts join us tonight. So poll number 2, here we go. Poll number 2. Let's see, there we go. Let us know, what is your current rank? So if you see your current rank there, put it down. Are you Caillou, Shodan, Nidan, Sandan, Yodan, Godan, Rookadan, Sisdan, Hachidan, or Kudan? Let's see who we have here. All right, I'm going to get just a couple more seconds here. 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. We have most of you in the, let's see, Nidan and Sandan. Wonderful. Okay. Oops. There we go. Let's stop share. There we go. All right. Next, we have the REACH Awards. REACH stands for Recognizing Extraordinary Achievement, Contribution, and Hard Work. Members were invited to nominate under 5 categories of leadership, contributor, ambassador, and male and female athlete. We thank those who took the time to send in their nomination, and many thanks to those who sat in on the selection committees for going through these nominations. Sensei Dennis LeBay will present this year's award recipients for our 4th annual REACH Awards. The Leadership Award recognizes an individual who demonstrates outstanding leadership and effective mentorship within the SWKKF.
This year's recipient is a member of the board for their club and continues to contribute this wisdom in this capacity. This sensei leads to tournament team program at his club and has hosted a virtual pre-grading and a black belt grading in Alberta. This recipient was described a great example of working hard, developing his own karate, and generously sharing it with others. He embodies with Sensei Ron's 5th rule of just train. It is important to call out his leadership during the COVID-19 outbreak. He steps up, ensures virtual classes were running for students of the BKA, and that the instructors were equipped to run effective classes. He develops summer challenges to keep students engaged. As one karateka wrote, he is incredibly thoughtful and kind as he goes out of his way to ensure that people feel included. Please join me and congratulate this year's Leadership Award, Sensei Scott Knight.
Congratulations, Sensei Scott. Sensei Scott, would you like to say a few words?
Oh no, putting me on the spot.
I am.
That's okay. Well, thank you very much. I absolutely appreciate it. I appreciate the time the Reach Committee took and the nominations, and I appreciate just all of it. This year has been tough for all of us in so many different ways. And for me, my way of getting through it has always been Sensei Ron's rule number 5, which is just show up and train. And it's almost my rule number 1. And even on the days when you don't want to show up, you don't feel like it, you show up and you train for yourself, but you also train for those around you. So I wanted to be there, if not for me, but for my friends, for my students, and for my senseis as well. So thank you very much, guys, and I really appreciate it.
Wonderful. Now we had to work hard to make sure that Sensei Scott didn't see any of the script or know what was going on as he was one of the award recipients, but he's also helping Sensei Bernadine in the back end for making all of this work. So there was a little bit of finessing that had to go on for that. So I hope that you were surprised, and thank you for all that you've done. Now we have something special for these Reach Awards and for the awards ceremony tonight. We brought in several people to be able to talk a little bit about their experience with Sensei Shintani. So I want to introduce Sensei Lou, I'm going to butcher the name, Rotingen, who is an 8th Dan from Hamilton. Sensei Lou was a student of Sensei Shintani's and wants to share a couple of his memories from Sensei's early days in Hamilton. But Sensei Lou was unable to join us live, but graciously put his thoughts together with an audio recording. And thanks to Sensei Bernadine, she also was able to put the closed captioning underneath, so you were able to follow that as well. So at this point, let's listen to Sensei Lou.
Hi, everybody. As you know, my name is Sensei Lou, and I just want to talk a little bit about Sensei Shintani, as I was one of his students way back in the 60s. I'll put a few items down I'd like to discuss. First one, I went to a tournament when I was the yellow belt. And there was about 14 competitors in our division. And I came away with first place. And I went up to Sensei and I said, Sensei, I just won first place in the division. He says, why are you smiling? I said, well, because I won. He says, can you remember how you won? Well, that got me thinking, and I'll sort of use that all through my teaching career. If my students went to a tournament, I needed to know if they knew how they won or how they lost. So that's the one tournament experience. I'll just, so you can see where Sensei comes from. What's important in tournaments. Not just fighting, but remembering what you did so you can improve on it. And then another thing, Sensei used to visit me at my home quite often because we used to travel all over the place. To Toronto and Ottawa and all over. And the thing about him, whenever he came into the room, to my house, he never said, hi, how are you all? Sensei would say, hi, Lou, how are you? Hi, Monica, how are you? And he'd address each one of my children, all 3 of them, and say, hi, how are you? And this was something about him. He never left anybody else. He liked to be individual and point out everybody. Now, we went to dinner once. It was a strange thing. And we were eating, I had a hamburger, he had a hamburger. He says to me, Lou, you like onions on your hamburger? I said, yes, Sensei. She said, so you didn't put any on? I said, no, I had to teach tonight. And all I got from him was a big smile. His wisdom always reflected through his smile. Terms he used to use. He said, Sensei, I have a technique to show you. He said, Lou, it's not a technique until it works. You show me, and if it works, we'll call it a technique. That was another bit of his wisdom. Nothing is positive like a technique until it works. I went to many demonstrations with Sensei. Sensei used to block and used to punch so quick, used to burn your skin. It wasn't like punching you deep so you'd feel it. You just leave a little red mark, like, that you know it's going to sting. Because that's how it was. He's going to demonstrate, and he demonstrates for real. So I did that too, all through my career. I'd walk up and down the line, I'd see somebody that did a fast punch, you can have a fast punch, this guy's going to be okay. But I never said directly to any student to put them off, because you never know what they can develop. Sensei was a very calm man, he always explained things to the finest point. And if you didn't understand, he would tell you again, and he'd continue repeating it. There's always, in a student that had potential, he never showed any preferences. I said to him, Sensei, what happens? Is this a I will make it? He says, don't worry about it. Just keep doing what you're doing. Everything's going to be fine. He never said, yeah, you're going to get your black belt or all this stuff. He said, no, everything's fine. You know, he had a way about him that told you, yeah, okay. Sensei said it's fine, that's fine. You know, he was always a very honest person. He very seldom saw him get annoyed. He was able to accept things or reject things depending what the value of the, he was, like I say, he was unusual, but unusual in such a way that he was unique. You know, I've never met anybody like him. He was my one and only instructor. Even to this day, many people have shown me a few things, but I've only having one instructor, and that was Sensei Shintani. And we had a very personal relationship because, like I said in the beginning, we used to travel all over the place, go and have dinner. Oh, that's the little thing I'll tell you. We went to the rickshaw, that's there in Stony Creek, and we knew the waiters and the owner. Sensei says, Lou, you like crab? Oh, I said, I love it, Sensei. We went up to the buffet, took the whole plate of crab from the buffet, put it on the table. And Harry, the owner, came over, he says, Basil, you can't do that. He says, why not? Go get it on the plate. And we just laughed. He was quite a character, and it's you can only meet him from what we talk about. To have known him personally was a great pleasure and something I'll never forget till the end of my day. Well, that has told you a little bit about Sensei Shintani, the kind of man he was, personally and in karate. You guys have a great day, and hope we'll see you soon when this is all over. Okay? Bye-bye.
Awesome. So glad that Sensei Lou could send something in for us to be able to share his experiences. All right. I'm going to pass it over. Sensei Bernadine. The Contributor Award recognizes an individual who has truly made a difference to the SWKKF through their contribution to committees, governance, policy development, or financial sustainability within the SWKKF.
This year's recipient is very active and has spent the past 15 years constantly visiting clubs throughout Western Canada. He serves on multiple committees, including the Tournament Committee, the Judging and Training Committee, and the Scholarship Committee. He has been a part of the SWKKF for more than 45 years, and in that time, he has started the Southern Alberta Regional Black Belt Workouts. And even though he is unable to train at this moment, he ensures that he is on many of the Zoom classes supporting the instructors and students. As one nominator wrote, his oversight and positive feedback have been a constant inspiration for those who continue to push through the restriction of the pandemic. His participation has provided more positive direction and give people something extra to think about between workouts. Please join me in congratulating this year's Contributing Award recipient, Sensei Blaine Beaver.
Congratulations, Sensei Blaine, who we also want to wish a quick and speedy recovery from his hip surgery just yesterday. I'm sure you're looking forward to getting back on the floor. Do you want to say a few words?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. The hip surgery was yesterday morning, so I'm fine. Yeah, I started in 1974 in Ontario. Thank you so much for this honor. I just love karate, and again, you keep coming out, and good things happen. So many people here that I see just in these several panels I've trained with for years. I consider friends, I consider mentors. I try to follow Sensei Shintani's humble example, and I'm just so pleased that throughout these difficult times, people have managed to stay coherent. I have great optimism for the Shintani Wado Kai. And again, I'm truly humbled by this unexpected honor, and we'll love to see you on the floor or on Zoom sometime soon. Thank you again.
Wonderful, Sensei. You know, we are so, we got a little bit of feedback there. There we go. We are so looking forward to, like I said, a speedy recovery and having you back on the floor. And thank you for all that you've done for the SWKKF. At this point, it is my pleasure to introduce Sensei Bob Graham, 8th Dan from Buffalo, New York. Sensei Bob is the president of the Shintani Karate Federation in the US, and we are so pleased that he could join us this evening. Sensei Bob?
Thank you. Greetings, everyone. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to see some of the faces that I've known over the years. I actually met Sensei Shintani, I believe it was in 1969, and he awarded me my Shodan in 73, I believe it was. And over the years, everything that Lou said really struck home with me. He was such a humble and gentle person. And over the years, I not only trained with him, but I really got to just sit with him a lot of times and talk with him about life in general and his life in particular. And so my thing I want to share tonight is about things he told me about his early training with Sensei Kitagawa in the New Denver camp in BC. And I think most people have heard the stories of, you know, how Sensei and the guys that were out looking for frozen ponds to play hockey ran across this elderly Okinawan gentleman who was punching and kicking the bark off the trees. But Sensei gave me a lot more about those stories other than just his meeting him there. And one of the ones that I thought was particularly interesting was, I asked him once, did you guys actually have uniforms or gis or whatever? And he says, well, not really. He said, we wore a kimono, so to speak, and we all wore just a white, an off-colored piece of canvas around for a belt. But he said, where we got these kimonos from was Sensei Kitagawa was suffering from tuberculosis and had been placed in the New Denver camp, internment camp, because there was a sanatorium there. And he said Kitagawa would go in the dining hall and steal the canvas tablecloths and then actually fashion gis for them. And he said, you know, he goes, on one of his fingers where you push a needle through and you usually have a thimble. He said, Sensei had it was just one big callus there where he'd sit and sew these uniforms for us. And so that's kind of where they got their uniforms from. And he said, we never wore a black belt at all. No one ever had one, not even Sensei Kitagawa. So I asked him about the training, and he said, well, he said, here's an example of one of the training days. He said, Sensei Kitagawa got us all together and asked us to meet on this particular little like hill. And he said, we got there and Sensei had us all stripped down to nothing but our undershorts. And then he had us cover ourselves with honey. And he said, I didn't know exactly what that process was supposed to be about, but he said, I did it. And he said, then we started standing and just punching and blocking and kicking. And he said, lo and behold, he had us on an anthill. And the ants just started crawling up all over us. And he said, we had to stay there and work out the entire time while those ants were biting us and stinging us. And he said, I used to think to myself, could it get any worse? And he said, I kept going back every day. And he said, a lot of it was about, okay, he did this to us yesterday. Can it get any more brutal? Can he come up with something more brutal for the next day? And he said, oh yes, every single day there was something more brutal that he would do to us in the training. And it was, as he talked about the training, it was quite brutal. But then he once told me, he said, Bob, he said, I got my viciousness from Sensei Kitagawa, but I got my gentleness from my mother. And he said, and they both have served me very well. Both have all served me well. And that brought to mind, if you ever got on the floor with Sensei, he could go from being this calm, relaxed individual to this explosive, unbelievable, frightening individual, and then immediately become a very calm individual again. And he often talked about that, like you have to learn how to be able to really bring it all out and then be able to control it. And he said, I believe I've learned this from Sensei Kitagawa, and I believe I also learned it from the humbleness of my mother. And, I asked him once about, I said, how did you learn sword technique, Sensei? And he said, well, he said, my grandfather, who was a descendant of samurai, never had any boys. He didn't have any males to pass it down, so he passed it down to his daughters, one of which was Sensei's mother. And he told me, my mother didn't actually formally teach me sword technique. He said she'd be sitting at the table and we'd all be eating, and she had a stick, and all of a sudden she'd sort of slide off her chair and she'd perform a movement, and then she'd perform it again. Or he said we'd be outside and she'd be raking leaves and she would, pick up a stick and she would start showing movement. And he said, out of all the, he had several sisters and a brother. He said, I guess I was the only one that really paid attention. And he said, you know how kids are. We don't want to listen to our parents. And he said, so I was probably the only one that paid attention, which kind of brings me back to a memory of the camp. Sensei had studied in Vancouver. He told me he went to a Japanese school, attended that in the evenings, and he had studied judo, and he had studied kendo, and he had studied jujitsu, and he had no idea. He said, at that time, karate, I had no idea karate existed, not any idea at all. And he said, so we went to the camp, and he says, there was a kindly old gentleman teaching Aikido. And he said, well, I went along with my mother and took Aikido lessons too. But he said, my mother told me to, I'm here, I'm sorry. He says, my mother told me that to stay away from that crazy man that punches the trees and yells. And he said, like any kid, that's the first thing I ran to. He said, he goes, like any teenager, I was going to go right to that. and that's where he got his karate start. So those are some of the stories that he had relayed to me over the years. And I always enjoyed those about what got him going in karate and what his early training was like in the New Denver camp. So I'm glad I could share it with all of you. And I thank you for having me.
Awesome. Sensei Bob, thank you so much for joining us tonight and for sharing, those are amazing stories and something that I'll take away from tonight. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome.
I'm running on a low battery. That's why I clicked in.
Well, I hope you can stay for the rest of it, but if your battery kicks out, we'll know why. So thank you for joining.
All right.
Tonight.
Thank you.
Well, that brings me up to my next poll here, which is, have you had a chance to ever train with Sensei? So here is the poll. Did you ever train personally with Sensei Shintani? So for those of you that are on the call tonight, that are joining us tonight, did you have that pleasure to be able to actually work out with Sensei Shintani at any point? Awesome. Let's see, a couple more seconds here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Awesome. So we still had over a third of people on the call tonight have actually personally trained with Sensei Shintani. So I think there's definitely more stories there that we can share. So thank you for that. All right. Wonderful. I'm going to pass it over to Sensei Bernadine. The Ambassador Award recognizes an individual with a strong, positive voice who advocates, raises awareness, or enhances the image of the SWKKF in the greater community.
This year's recipient has been a true advocate of the Shintani Wattapai Karate Federation on a global scale. The sensei has competed internationally, virtually, and has even hosted tournaments. He hosts a radio show and provides commentary on karate tournaments. He is recognized in the greater karate community beyond the SWKKF as an athlete, promoter, organizer, and communication specialist for karate. He represents to all the Shintani value of humility, kindness, determination, perseverance, and compassion, and is passionate about the SWKKF. As quoted in his nomination, when it comes to other styles and interacting with other senseis, he has made contact with more people than you can possibly imagine. Please join me in congratulating as this year's Ambassador Award recipient, Sensei Kyle Chambers.
Congratulations, Sensei Kyle. Sensei Kyle, would you like to say a few words?
I'd like to thank everybody, the person who nominated me. I'm truly grateful. Thank you to everybody in the SWKKF who's helped me out. I feel the foundation of the SWKKF has really helped me in many areas in my karate as well. So you can't be great without the foundation. So thank you to everybody, and I really appreciate this.
Wonderful. Congratulations, Sensei Kyle. Well deserved. Next, I'd like to introduce Sensei Charlotte Martin, Rukadan from Ottawa, Ontario. Sensei Charlotte began karate in 1973 and helped start the Delhi Club, which was called Simcoe North. In 1991, she ran a club in Port Dover and taught until 2008 when she moved to Ottawa. Now, Sensei Charlotte sent her reflections, and we're pleased that Sensei Heather Fiddick is going to read them on her behalf.
So I feel very honored that I get to read and tell you a little bit about Sensei Charlotte. She actually sent this, and so I'm going to be reading in first person, so as if and they are her words. I began karate in 1973, helped found and teach the Delhi Club, then what was called Simcoe North. In 1991, I took over a club in Port Dover and taught until 2008 when I left the club in Tim McCullough's safe hands and moved to Ottawa, where there were no Watto clubs. Pretty much all of the best people I've known and hold dear are karate people. That's just the way Wadokai is. A student asked Sensei Shintani once if he'd ever had to use his karate, and Sensei replied, I use it every day. I think I can say the same. In October 1973, a co-worker invited me to go check out a judo club in Port Dover, Ontario. I was really keen because I had read a bit about judo and was intrigued by the physics of the art. We walked up a long wooden staircase to a large empty room above a carpet store. Half the floor was covered with tatamis where the judo was practiced. The remainder was a bare wood floor for the karate class. As I sat watching, all thoughts of judo left me. I reached behind me to the table where registration forms and pens lay. I filled out the form and my karate life began. The dojo itself was rudimentary, one that was hot in the summer and cold in the winter. At break, people would pass around a hammer to pound down the nails that had popped up during the first hour. The sensei was our Sensei Shintani. He was 47 years old and held the rank of 7th Dan. He was quiet, spoken, but focused, and his movements were precise and explosive. Everyone knew him as Shintani, not Sensei. No first name, just Shintani. He taught at various clubs in the Niagara Peninsula and came to Port Dover Tuesdays and Thursdays, often bringing Brad Cosby with him. The randomness of life had brought me to a meeting with a true karate master and set me on a path I would follow through my life. My immediate family pointedly showed no interest in my passion and made their disapproval quite clear. I carried on following my heart, as we all should. Along the way, I met young Ron Matty and Dennis LeBay and their friend Peter Trophy, along with many, many others. Most of my fellow students were men, but there were a small core of women. Often life and family commitments would take over and the women would drift on to other things. Women were always treated with respect in this system because respect is the essence of karate. Sensei Shintani didn't want men and women to compete with each other, especially in kumite, because he felt that if the man won, it would look like it was too easy. And if the woman won, that would be embarrassing. He was very concerned about preserving a man's self-esteem. The male ego was to be protected. The women were more resilient on that front, apparently. I don't think anyone minded. Sensei Shintani was kind to everyone, but he was less tolerant of people who were showing off. If someone was being flashy, he'd say, "Oh, that guy, he's such a hot dog," which was funny, but being humble is part of Wadokai. He said, being humble until you bow into the ring and then you do your best you can to show what your sensei has taught you. Then you would bow out and go back to being humble. Sensei said, treat even the youngest white belt with the same respect you would a high-ranking black belt, because they may be one someday and they'll know how to treat others. Sensei always found a way to help people with any physical problems to learn and use karate, knowing that would strengthen their minds and bodies and make their lives better. Karate is for anyone, any age. As well as teaching great workouts, Sensei Shintani also loved to sit and talk. He talked of life, his children, his childhood. He told stories that had lessons folded into them. When asked about kata, he would talk about kumite. And when asked about kumite, he would talk about kata. How each is equally important and support each other to make a whole. Practice one to learn the other. At the end of most workouts and on special events, we went to a restaurant where food and copious cups of coffee were consumed. Sensei put at least 5 packets of sugar in each cup. He would crack the packets, open the middle, across, and then as you would crack an egg, dump the contents in and stir, all lot. Sensei always looked ahead and strived to make Wadokai grow and evolve while retaining its traditional core values. With the right choice of leaders, he ensured that his vision is being fulfilled. Thanks for asking me to do this. Sorry we didn't get to see each other in person. Cheers, Sensei Charlotte.
That was awesome. Thank you for reading that, Sensei Heather. What a great perspective of being a woman, you know, in the early days. I think that's awesome. So thank you. Wonderful. Okay, Sensei Bernadine. The Male and Female Athlete Award recognizes an individual who excels as a karateka through their dedication to training, attending tournament and clinic opportunities, and achieving excellence as a result of their dedication.
This year's female athlete is described as bright, humble, kind, and compassionate. She is diligent in her training and is seen as a talented yet quiet karateka with plenty of determination and passion. Her accolades are numerous, including medaling in kata and our virtual tournament series with a cast on. She has participated in the WTKA World Martial Arts Showcase, Virtual Karate World League, the NASKA Virtual Cup, the Crane Valentine's Tournament, Karate Athletes League, Karate World Continental Europe, American Junior League Bogota, the Midwest Open, American Open, the WSF World Cup, Ontario Open Tournaments, the Kensinke Karate Tournament, and the Traditional Karate Showcase. She is working to complete her NCCP Karate Instructors Program. Please join me in congratulating as this year's Female Athlete Award, Sensei Macy Rathwell. This year's male athlete is well known within the organization, and in addition to competing within the SWKKF sanctioned, he competes enthusiastically abroad. As one nominee states, this karateka is continuously engaged in activities to improve his karate, promote karate, learn and about karate, and promote Shintani Wadokai. He has been engaged in our virtual tournaments as a judge. He has also set up virtual tournaments events of his own and engaged Shintani members as competitors and as judges. Please join me in congratulating this year's Male Athletes Award, Sensei Kyle Chambers.
Congratulations, Maisie, and congratulations, Sensei Kyle. Maisie, do you want to say a few words?
I'm not quite sure what to say. Thank you, everybody. Congratulations, Sensei Kyle.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect. And congratulations for competing even with a cast on. That's awesome. All right, Sensei Kyle, congratulations again. Would you like to say a few more words?
Thank you for everyone who personally nominated me. Thank you everyone in the SWKKF. Congratulations, Maisie, in the Female Athlete of the Year as well. She competed in my traditional kata showcase. She was phenomenal. Thank you for the people who's helped me out through my karate journey. And karate is really a journey, and it's really the path you choose to take. And I'm really honored karate is really taking me to different paths over the pandemic. So thank you.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations to you both for working so hard and for competing and for representing the SWKKF so well across all of the tournaments that you've participated in. So congratulations to both of you. I would now like to introduce Sensei Jim Atkinson, Hachidan from Delhi, Ontario. Sensei Jim is the Secretary General on the Senate and to the SWKKF and Chief Instructor of the Shindo Federation. Welcome, Sensei Jim.
Thank you, Princess Beverly. I'm gonna put my screen opened up here. Yeah, thank you for asking me to say a few words. I just want to recognize the hard work that you have done in your group, and each recognition awards are just absolutely fabulous. Sensei Shintani would be so proud and so happy tonight. I mean, with what's going on in in the world, and it's just crazy. And this organization has held together, and it's held together because people have done it together. I'm just blown away. I'm amazed at how many dedicated and talented people we have in this organization, and we just continue to show their love, and it's just fantastic. There's a saying I always said. I read it in a book, and it's to my kids from time to time, and it's if you want to go fast, you go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. And that's what this organization has done. So congratulations to the ones that got recognized today, and I just can't thank everybody else enough for everything that you do. They're fantastic. So thank you for that. As far as me, when we think about the people that talked tonight, Sensei Lou and Sensei Bob and Sensei Charlotte, I mean, they are from the beginning, and they got so many fantastic stories and memories of Sensei Shintani, and they are who they are because Sensei treated them that way because they're fantastic people. You know, me, I'm the young guy, so, but what I'm going to talk about tonight is Shindo, my experience of Shindo, and how I perceive how what Shindo meant to Sensei. And so for me, the Shindo started in the mid-'80s, and Sensei Shintani was teaching. He taught us how to sushi no kancho, the longbow, and we worked it, quite thoroughly and for quite some time. And I realized that Sensei used that longbow to develop his students, to develop us until he was able to, or thought it was time to introduce us to using the Shindo. And when he did introduce us to the Shindo, we worked it a lot. We did work with Shindo a lot with Sensei. In almost every class, he would work from Shindo with us. And I remember he says he would teach a lot of the class, and then he would have some of the senior belts teach. Sensei Peter Chofi. Back when I was a young black belt in the early days, for me, Sensei Peter did a lot of the instruction, a lot of the teaching. And I remember one particular class Sensei Peter was teaching, and of course it's hard and fast, right? With Sensei Chofi, bringing the Shindo and bringing it back, and he brought that Shindo back, and I cracked myself right in the forehead with that. And I mean, I hit myself hard. Right away, Sensei Peter counts again, and whack! I smoked myself right in the same spot, just as hard. And it sounded like a cannon went off in my head. So everything went quiet, and everybody's looking at me, and all I can hear is the wind in my ears. I'm sure to everybody else it sounded like a coconut getting packed. Sensei Peter walks up to me and says, "Jim, are you okay?" I don't know, right? Little did I know, I'm bleeding all over the place. So they got me a towel and put it on my head, and I went up onto the stage and sat beside Sensei Shintani. So I'm sitting beside Sensei, and I'm not really looking at him. I'm feeling really quite embarrassed. And Sensei had quite a sense of humor, and he just kind of giving me the sideways look. And all of a sudden, he starts nodding his head and chuckling. That really hurts, doesn't it, Jim? Yeah, it sure does, Sensei. But I always remember that because Sensei made it light. He made it easy on me. He made me realize, it can happen to anybody. Just learn from it. And so I always remember that story. Sensei, Shindo was his life. Right? And he wanted to build his and develop his Shindo organization. And he had a lot of key guys, like Sensei Bob Graham was a key guy in this. But I really got to give a lot of recognition to Sensei Bruce Purpose. Sensei put it out there. Sensei Bruce, he really took the bull by the horns. And he went right at this, and he communicated with Sensei Shintani I was fortunate enough to be there from the start, following along, you know, as a faithful student. And but Cincy Bruce is very loyal to Cincy. And since he started to put the program together, and unfortunately, Cincy Shintani had a stroke. And at that time, he basically was incapacitated. But he never ever quit teaching. And we go to the hospital, the rehabilitation hospital. Cincy would be so thrilled that he'd come there, and he couldn't demonstrate that he would still be teaching us and telling us what he wanted incorporated into the katas that we were doing and the techniques. And we incorporated them, and they're still there today. And Cincy never quit. He taught to the day he died. And that's what he loved to do. So, since he spoke about having a dream, and this dream was so vivid and so real that it impacted his life, and it really took him in the direction that he went. And he dreamt that he had defeated 2 swordsmen with a short stick. And this is where he took that path with his life to develop Shindo. And Shindo became his life. He raised that Shindo up at class, and he told us, do not ever, ever abuse this. Do not ever, ever disrespect it. Always respect it, because this is my life. And it was. You know, he talked so much of Cincy Oatster and his love for him. And he talked of Cincy Kitagawa and Cincy Bob talked about tonight. And he taught us the Wado Katas in the Wado way in honor of Cincy Oatster's legacy. Just as he taught us the Kitagawa and Sharon Rue katas in honor of Cincy Kitagawa's legacy. But Shindo was Cincy Shintani's. Cincy Shintani developed Shindo and gave it to us. And I truly believe that a big part of Cincy's legacy is Shindo. And I'm going to continue to do everything I can to keep that legacy alive. Thank you for letting me talk.
Thank you, Sensei Jim. And you know, what a wonderful legacy. And thank you for sharing that. And thank you for, keeping it alive within our organization. So wonderful. As these award presentations come to a close, I want to thank Sensei Lou and Sensei Bob and Sensei Charlotte and Sensei Jim for sharing their memories of Sensei Shintani with us. Congratulations to all of our virtual tournament organizers, including Sensei Doug Taylor, Sensei Geraldine Young, Sensei Kyle Chambers, Sensei Kevin Cole, Sensei Tom Foster, Sensei Darren Humphreys, and Sensei Heather Fiddick. Thank you to all of the organizers of the clinic series this past week, including Sensei Rod Phillips, Sensei Ann Raidhead, Sensei Tom Foster, Sensei Katrina Marquis, Sensei Karen Atkinson, and Sensei Jim Atkinson, as well as all of the participants and all of the winners. Thank you to Sensei Dennis for presenting these Reach Awards to the well-deserved karateka. And thank you to all who took the time in effort to acknowledge and to nominate people. There are so many people within our organization who do great things. And I would like to acknowledge those who were also nominated in the categories for their outstanding contribution and hard work. Allison Fraser, Ann Reidhead, Brandon Wong, Craig McCleary, Doug Taylor, Eddie Poulin, Geraldine Young, James Freeman, Kelsey Marmara, Lauren Fast, Melanie Brasser-Camerid, Paul Klein, Shelley McGregor, Stephanie Hanchurik, and Tom Lizick. And if I butchered your name, I am so sorry. Finally, I'd like to say a huge thank you to Sensei Bernadine and to Sensei Scott for being our technical producers tonight. And a special thank you to Sensei Heather and Sensei Kelsey, who make up this trio for the Reach Awards. Tonight was an absolute wonderful celebration of all that is Sensei Shintani and the SWKKF. With that, I'd like to wind up the official part of these awards and open up the social part. So please feel free to unmute, say hi, provide your congratulations to the award winners. I've been watching the chat, so thank you for those of you that have been sending your congratulations. And this is just generally a great time to connect. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you at next year's Reach Awards.
Thank you, Sensei Beverly, for emceeing. You did an awesome job. And Sensei Dennis, great job with all of the production of this event. So,
yes.
All right.
We have to
unmute and chat.
Good stuff. We have to really thank you, Beverly. I know you thanked everyone else, but you do take a big credit of what you've done. Wonderful job, everyone. It's a large family we have, and it's so nice to have everybody on board. Enjoy, and yes, please, if you have anything else, anyone else would like to share, by all means, let's do so.
Thank you, senseis.
So welcome.
I will just say it's lovely seeing you, Sensei Beverly, Sensei Bev. I just still recall your generosity in hosting us at your home, and it's just very nice seeing you, and you did a fantastic job.
Thank you. And hopefully soon more people can come back to my house.
You might regret that.
Not a chance. That's when it's fun.
Oh, absolutely.
I just wanted to say I recently was asked to judge in one of Sensei Kyle's tournaments. He did a fantastic job. I mean, he was so organized, and the group of people he had, that they were from all over, and just fantastic competitors, and such nice people. They treated me, from all different styles, and they're very unified, and I really was impressed. Really proud of you, Sensei Kyle. And also Maisie competed in that. And what a competitor she is. She's fantastic. So both of them got awards tonight, and they certainly deserve it, what my experience is.
Sensei Jim, I'm going to tag on to that. I got the chance to, I didn't get to judge the Reach Awards, but I get the opportunity to read. And there were so many amazing nominations. Allison Fraser, I don't know you, but I got to read so many really cool things about you. And so you should be very proud of all of the karate that you do. And I was like, wow, this person is amazing. So to read about all these amazing people in karate, Mila and Dahlia, I've had the opportunity, I know you've joined Sensei Robin's classes lots. And so when I saw your names on the Grand Champions list, I went, yeah, that just shows your fortitude and resilience. So great job, ladies. So yeah, great. It was just an honor. I'll take a page out of Sensei Bruce Perkins's book. He got to always read about all of the scholarship nominees, and when I was chairperson for the scholarship committee, I got to read all of the nominations as well. So being part of the Reach is kind of it's so wonderful to be able to read just all of the backside. I don't have the pressure of voting, but I have the opportunity to see all of the wonderful people we have in our organization.
I'll follow up there. You kind of reminded me of a story on Mr. Shintani, or we called him Mr. Shintani back then. With the scholarship, we started the scholarship with Sensei Bruce, or the Simcoe South, and the $500 scholarship that we would give out. And so we get and at that time we'd only get maybe 3 or 4 applications in. And so we had, I think we had 6 this one year, and we didn't know who to judge. So Sensei Bruce got a hold of Mr. Shintani, and so Mr. Shintani met us at a restaurant. It's called Jocko's, just outside of Hamilton. And we got there, and we brought the scholarship with us, and we were going to get him to help us decide which one. And so we sat there for about, 2.5 hours, having a bite to eat and talking about everything but the scholarships. And so Dr. Booth asked him what, if he would take a look at him, and he says, oh, well, no, there was two that we had. We couldn't decide which one. He said, oh, give them both one. So that's how it ended up with two scholarships, and then from there it went to the federation. But that was, since he was like so calm about it, just give them both. I don't have to read them. That's kind of where it started from.
Yeah, for anybody, if any of you have stories that you want to share, please feel free to pipe in and share some of those stories. I'm seeing all kinds of stuff in the chat box of congratulations. Again, congratulations to all of the award winners. Awesome. Let's see. I don't know who has been a kind of here the longest, but I do see a couple of our Senate members. So I see Sensei Ron, I see Sensei Michelle, I see Sensei Neil. Do any of the three of you want to share any stories? Not to put you on the spot or anything. Sensei Ron?
I'll share just a quick one. It's about Sensei Prime. And he was a cocky little brown belt. And he came to, I had Sensei Shintani come to the dojo in Welland at the church. And we're working, quick, fast, explosive, Gidambarai. And I was like, Sensei LeBay, Sensei Trophy, myself, we're winning most of the tournaments, we're quick, we're fast. And then this little cocky brown belt standing in front of our rotating partners. And we had to block the front kick. He threw me a kick. I went to block it, and it's like I hit a piece of solid steel, and my arm just stopped there, and I felt like I broke it. And I stopped, and I looked at him, and I thought, what the hell is this, right? And then, and just because I was a black belt, a higher, and he didn't give a crap, like he was going to put it in, and he did, and it taught me, don't take anything for granted. So, yeah, and I respect Sensei Prime so much for his knowledge of karate, and what he's done is, and Sensei Atkinson has done the same thing, which is Shindo, is Sensei's taught us things here, but he's taught us other things here, how to move, how to get somewhere. Like you're still throwing a punch and a kick, but he shows you off the floor or outside the kata. He shows you how to move faster and more explosive techniques. But he expects you to take those things and stick them in there, stick them into your katas, and do that and develop those little things he's given you. Develop it. Don't just stay flat. Just because he didn't teach it to you that way, he's taught you these things. Stick it in there. Peter Trophy was like that. He'd come to Sensei, I know you taught the kata like this, but I find I move faster if I do it like this. And Sensei, like this, he laughed and he says, that's what you're supposed to do. And Sensei Prime is that way with all his kicking and his punching and his sidestepping and jamming. And Sensei Atkinson's that way with his Shindo. I'm joining his classes on Wednesdays. And, it's just like Sensei's teaching. And he's adding extra stuff that Sensei has showed outside of those kind of moves. And it's just amazing. And we have such good instructors in this organization that do that. And I'll mention Kevin Mose is another one. Like he's taken stuff. He's never worked with Sensei Shintani, but he's taken stuff from Sensei Atkinson or Sensei Humphrey, Sensei Beamer, myself, Sensei Humphrey, and he's getting all these things from Shintani and putting it in and coming up with, well, Sensei, I like it like this. And yeah, we do like Sensei Shintani. Yeah, if that works for you, like Sensei Graham said, not a technique until it works for you, and it works for him. So these are people are really doing great. Stephanie's another one that's doing great things for our organization with our para, developing with her and Reedhead, like such amazing people. She's helped out the Welland Dojo a lot with like people who would never be recognized or be able to do martial arts. And and it's not just a pair. It could just be someone who just is not confident in themselves. And Sensei always used, you know, like, I'm not knocking down Karate Canada, but I've been at some of the clinics and it's about the elite, you know, from what I've seen. And that's okay too. We need that avenue, but it's also, we need to concentrate on just the nobodies, not nobodies, but someone who doesn't stand out, just there. And those are the ones, if you can make them feel important for a year or two, and then they can leave karate, but it does a big impact on their lives. And they always come back to you sometimes in your life and say, thank you so much for doing that for us and that. So, and our organization is unique that we have Shindo. You know, you have your general karate here, but you have Shindo, which is, people will go to that, or they'll go to sport karate, like Karate Canada, which is great for the younger guys, or some of our judges, you know, they get on international recognition, and that's great there. Then you have Bunkai, you know, the applications of things, and you study that way. So we have such good things, and they're all good. Just because you go on this path doesn't mean, you know, and this person's on this path doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just for you. You know, what is it for you? As long as you stay here with under Sensei Shintani's philosophies, like, it's great. And we see a little bit Sensei Shintani in every one of the people who are in this organization. So proud of everybody. Sensei Shintani, be very proud also.
Awesome. Thank you, Sensei Ron.
One more thing. Your Senate members put a lot of work that nobody ever sees. You know, there's so much work that goes behind, and, you know, clashes also and stuff like that, but we're all very compassionate for the organization. You really don't realize how much effort goes behind the scenes, you know, and so I just want to thank all the Senate members for everything, and everybody who supported me in my job also. Thank you so much. Thanks, Beth.
Absolutely. I want to, I was remiss to not mention all of the Senate members, and certainly from being on the strategic planning committee and having conversations, the amount of work that the Senate does is unfreaking believable. So that is why we can do what we do here. So thank you to all of you. Sensei Neil, I see you unmuted. I think you wanted to say something in response. And you beamed when Sensei Ron said that you kicked him.
I remember that night. Sensei Shintani was somewhat winding down teaching in St. Catharines and in the clubs per se, because he had taken on the path of teaching more the black belts across the organization, across all of Canada, and of course into the States, into Buffalo, and Sensei Graham was in back and forth between Pennsylvania and Buffalo. But I do remember that night that I tried to kick Sensei Ron because Sensei Shintani told me, and I was a brown belt, Neil, he says, I'm not going to be teaching here much longer on a regular basis. So he says, I want you to go. And he told me specific people to go and work out with. And of course, the Welland Dojo was one. The Grimsby Dojo was the other one. And the Buffalo Dojo, of course, was the other one. And I am certainly glad that I took that advice to learn from 3 very, very different clubs. You need to do that. You need to get out of your own 4 walls, and it's not just disrespectful to your instructor. If anything, and you're bringing stuff back into your dojo and sharing, and you're constantly keeping everyone on their toes. I mean, for me, for a long time, it was competitive. It was always a matter of, who can pull what over on the other person. And I must admit that, when I stood in front of Sensei Ron that night and threw that very, very first kick, I probably did have a grin on my face, because I saw the way he looked, and he came back and was like, "Ooh, one of those." And I think he wasn't expecting it more than anything else. But you know, to get back to the competitive thing, I shared this story with the Senate at our last live Senate meeting because it's something that really stuck out in my head. As a Q belt, you should never challenge a black belt. I mean, we understand the ranking in hierarchy in karate, so you just simply don't ask them to spar. Well, I was a yellow belt, I think, probably no more at the time. And we used to go into the club and warm up. You've probably most people that have heard stories about Sensei Shintani have heard about the Fairview Mall because that was in St. Catharines, and that was fairly close for all the people that were working out in Niagara. To me, there was different people there almost every single week. I was exposed to so many people. It was wonderful. Anyways, we used to warm up and do a little bit of Rendori or Kumite at the beginning, and one night just nobody had the urge to spar except for me, and I went down the line, no. So I looked at Sensei Shintani and I said, "Hey, you want to spar?" Well, one of the other black belts there, Ernie Jukes, as many people will know, I thought he was going to tear my ear off and drag me out and throw me back out in the parking lot. But Sensei Shintani calmed it down, and he explained to me that that's not proper etiquette. But you know what? I was there for fun. It's always been fun to me. It always has to be fun. Okay, when the fun is gone, I'm gone. That's just the way it's going to be. But Sensei Shintani, it didn't matter what position you put yourself into, an awkward position. I could see, you know, when Sensei Jim was talking about being up on the stage with his head down, sitting beside Sensei Shintani. Well, I was there that day at Onteori, and I was about 10 feet away, and I heard both of those cracks, and I thought, oh my, how is this man still on his feet? It was horrible. And yeah, the blood was trickling down, but I knew the feeling of embarrassment was worse than the blood for sure, because I've been in those situations before. So anyways, you know, just to wrap it up, you know, Sensei Shintani was about opening the borders of getting out of your comfort zone and training with as many people as you can. The Shintani Karate Federation has always been my home base. I've done a ton of things outside the Shintani Karate Federation, but I hope what I've done on the outside has brought good stuff in, and we've all been able to develop with that. But yeah, we could probably go on with stories all night, and we probably should do this more often. And I see Sensei Graham is off right now. That's too bad. I often went to Buffalo on a Friday night, and the last time I was in Buffalo, the last time I saw Sensei Graham was over a year ago. It was the Friday before the lockdown. We were there, and even then it was just this really odd feeling of, you know, should we be here, should we be doing this? But it's been over a year now since I've been able to work out with him, and I got to be back real soon. I mean, Sensei Peter is with us on our regular classes, and that's awesome. I'm glad he is, but I got to get out to Buffalo, so I'll be going when the borders are open. If anyone wants to come this way, and, you know, even if we have to camp out in St. Catharines to make it happen, we'll do it. Anyway, thanks for your time. We got to do more of this. Have a great night.
Awesome.
And thanks for everyone to put this
I got to
together.
get going here. So I want to thank everybody for coming. I just saw Danny McKee is on now, and that's another great super karate person.
Awesome. Thank you, Sensei Ron. Thank you, Sensei Neil. Great to hear from both of you on that. And Sensei Neil, to your point, though this may not be the typical Reach Awards, I think there was definitely some benefit doing it this way, because we had people from all over. If this was the national tournament, it would only be limited to those people that could join us at the national tournament on site. This allowed us to be able to reach out to people from right across the country into the United States, and to bring in people to share their stories and, you know, and such different perspectives. So I think it was an awesome night. So thanks to everybody for joining and putting it together.
If I could just
Can I
throw in
share-
one more thing.
Can I share two things? Oh, go ahead, Neil.
We'll go Sensei Neil and then Sensei Jim.
I just wanted to mention about Sensei Lou. Sensei Lou is in his 80s, and he's working out in our club, like before the pandemic. He right up to going in for his knee replacement, he was working out in our club so that he could get his muscles strengthened so that he would have a quicker recovery. And within a couple of weeks of having his knee replaced, he was walking up the stairs into our dojo again. And he says, well, I have to get moving again, in his South African accent, of course, which I'm not even going to try. But, we're so lucky to have him in our organization. If you have the opportunity to talk to Sensei Lou, he does try to get to the national tournament and the tournaments in this area. You have to say hello. He'll bend your ear for half an hour. No worries there.
I loved, it was a couple of tournaments, national tournaments ago. Sensei Brad and Sensei Lou took a bunch of us. We were sitting on the bleachers and they told stories on the Friday night. And it was just the most enticing, to listen to the stories. And again, Sensei Neil, I wouldn't be able to do his accent either, but it was awesome to listen to. Sensei Jim.
Yeah, just a couple of things come to mind and memories of what type of person Sensei was. One was Sensei James Freeman shared some pictures this last couple of days. And there's a picture of Sensei with all the kids around him. And he's sitting there and he's talking to all the kids. And it brought back a memory of we were at the Western Canadian Championship clinic. And there was hundreds of people on the floor. And the black belts and all types. I mean, it was full, and they were waiting for Sensei to come and to teach. And so Danny went out into the hall and looking for Sensei, and he's out there with a bunch of kids, talking to kids. They go, "Oh, Sensei, everybody's waiting." And he looks at them and he goes, "Yes, but this is more important right now." Right? And that's the way Sensei was. Another thing that come to mind, and everybody that went to clinics or especially tournaments, and you go after a tournament and you go out for dinner, and everybody's sitting there having their dinner, and Sensei would walk around and say hi to everybody, and he would give everybody $5 to put towards certain meal. I don't want anybody in the old days to remember that. Everybody got. All the money he made, he gave back. He gave every one of us $5 to put towards the meal and thank us for doing that. Since he was very, very kind and generous.
Perfect. Thanks, everybody. I think at this point, I think we can call it a wrap. Sensei Bernadine, I think you can probably stop the recording. I think that's maybe Sensei Scott. I just saw him run really quick.
You can hear that for me.
Perfect. Awesome. Again.
I see